Leaders of Türkiye and Hungary met in Istanbul for the 7th session of their high-level Strategic Cooperation Council, marking a significant step in the evolution of bilateral relations. During the summit, they announced a broad agenda intended to deepen cooperation across multiple sectors, from diplomacy and defense to trade, science, education, energy and culture, and set in motion institutional mechanisms designed to make this cooperation more enduring and structured. At the press event following their meeting, the Turkish leaders said they had agreed to establish a joint planning group to be chaired by the foreign ministers of the two countries. He explained that this body would allow bilateral and global matters to be addressed in a more institutional manner. This, together with a previously agreed-upon joint consultation mechanism, marks a shift from ad hoc summits toward formal, continuing dialogue channels on foreign policy, security, defense industry, and strategic planning. On the economic front, the leaders confirmed that Türkiye and Hungary are nearing their previous annual trade target of $6 billion and announced their intention to raise this target to $10 billion, reflecting what they described as strong trade potential. The meeting also resulted in the signing of 16 new cooperation agreements and memoranda across a wide range of fields: aviation, security, technology, culture, education, trade, energy, transport and logistics. Among these, a landmark agreement on higher education cooperation was concluded. A memorandum of understanding, along with a 2025-2028 implementation protocol, aims to bring about expanded student and academic staff exchanges, joint research programs, dual joint degree offerings, mutual recognition of diplomas, internship opportunities, and greater academic mobility between the two countries. Reflecting on 2025 as long declared the Türkiye-Hungary Year of Science and Innovation, one of the leaders said, "We implemented 28 joint actions, allocated resources to joint projects. The emphasis on science, innovation, digitalization, research and entrepreneurship speaks to a vision of collaboration not just in traditional fields, but in future-oriented and high-tech sectors, aiming to create institutional bridges across academia, technology and industry." Defense and security cooperation also received strong emphasis. The Turkish president said, given changing security dynamics in Europe, they were evaluating projects including those that foresee joint production, which will further advance our defense industry cooperation. This signals both a recognition of evolving regional security needs and a strategic ambition to build a shared defense industrial backbone. Observers view this as a substantial shift from loose cooperation to concrete industrial partnership. Energy and transit issues also featured prominently. In the context of ongoing geopolitical instability and energy insecurity in Europe, the two countries pledged to make maximum use of existing economic and trade mechanisms and to leverage their strategic cooperation to ensure stable energy and logistic links. On foreign policy and global challenges, the leaders reaffirmed their commitment to a diplomatic approach on regional crises. They discussed developments in the Middle East and the war in Ukraine, among other global issues. The Turkish president noted that Turkey has been mobilizing all diplomatic resources to work for a just and lasting peace between the conflicting parties since the beginning of the conflict, under the guiding principle that there are no winners in war and no losers in a just peace. They also underlined the importance of cooperation in multilateral settings and welcomed Hungary's role as observer in the Organization of Turkic States, ATS, underlining the value of shared cultural and historical ties in strengthening their partnership. The leaders expressed confidence that the agreements and institutional mechanisms established through the Council will contribute significantly to deepening the long-standing ties and the deep-rooted bonds of friendship between their peoples, projecting optimism that the new framework will yield tangible results in defense, economy, education, energy, and culture. This gathering marks a turning point in Türkiye-Hungary relations. Rather than episodic declarations, the cooperation is being institutionalized through recurring frameworks, a joint planning group, a joint consultation mechanism, and a slate of diversified agreements across sectors. This suggests a strategic pivot toward durable, long-term partnership. The decision to increase the trade volume target to $10 billion reflects tangible economic ambition. It suggests that both governments believe the current momentum in trade, investment, and sectoral cooperation can be substantially accelerated under the new institutional setup. What stands out most is the scope of cooperation envisaged, not only defense and trade, but science, innovation, education, cultural exchange, technology, energy transit, aviation, and broader global diplomacy. In a rapidly shifting European security and energy landscape, this multi-dimensional alliance may provide both countries with strategic advantages, economic, industrial, and diplomatic, while deepening their mutual interdependence. On defense cooperation, the move toward joint production projects is especially noteworthy. As Europe grapples with evolving threats, reliance on shared defense industrial capacities could redefine strategic alignments. For Türkiye and Hungary, it could mean technology transfer, joint manufacturing, and enhanced strategic autonomy in defense, a partnership that goes beyond simple procurement or cooperation into co-development and co-production. In science and higher education, the newly signed protocol could foster deeper academic and institutional integration, cross-border student and academic mobility, collaborative research, joint degrees, and shared academic infrastructure could help both countries build human capital and innovation capacity, diversifying their cooperation beyond traditional diplomacy and trade. Energy and transit cooperation may also assume larger geopolitical relevance. With energy security a central concern across Europe, especially given disruptions stemming from geopolitical conflicts, the agreement to coordinate energy supply and transportation routes could strengthen both nations' roles as energy, transit, and supply hubs, offering strategic leverage. On the diplomatic front, the joint stance on regional crises and the shared commitment to diplomacy and peace may increase their weight in international dialogues. Their mutual support, especially Hungary's backing of Türkiye's aspiration for full membership of the European Union, could also reshape dynamics within European institutions, especially given Hungary's distinct position and sometimes divergent approach to Brussels' mainstream. Of course, the real test for these agreements lies ahead in implementation. The establishment of institutional mechanisms is only a first step. Success will depend on whether the joint planning group and consultation mechanism become active, whether the 16 agreements translate into concrete projects, whether trade volume expands as targeted, defense collaborations materialize into joint production, energy and transport cooperation functions smoothly, and education exchanges produce real, lasting ties. If managed effectively, this comprehensive cooperation could foster a resilient bilateral partnership capable of withstanding geopolitical volatility and offering both countries economic growth, strategic security, regional influence, and cultural academic exchange. By embracing a holistic approach, blending diplomacy, defense, economics, science, education, energy, and culture, Türkiye and Hungary appear to be laying the foundation for a long-term alliance, one that seeks not only to navigate but to shape the contours of regional and global developments. Time will tell whether the ambition of this week's summit evolves into sustained action, but for now, the tone is clear: partners committed to structured cooperation with eyes on the future. As both governments move from declarations to implementation, the durability of this strategic partnership will depend on whether these newly established mechanisms translate into measurable progress. The commitments made in Istanbul, from expanded trade and joint production in the defense sector to deeper academic collaboration and coordinated diplomatic initiatives, set a clear roadmap. What remains is sustained political will, administrative coordination, and the ability to navigate shifting regional dynamics while preserving the momentum built through this summit. Looking ahead, Türkiye and Hungary appear poised to broaden their cooperation in ways that reach beyond traditional diplomacy. If the initiatives outlined during this meeting unfold as intended, The partnership could evolve into a long-term strategic framework that shapes economic, security, and political developments, not only bilaterally, but across the wider region. For now, the summit has signalled intent, alignment, and ambition, laying the groundwork for a phase of cooperation defined by continuity, shared interests, and the pursuit of mutual stability.